Hey guys, it's Downwind, or Brian, as I've been called lately now that I'm off the trail. I'm going to talk to y'all about the shoe that I wore, the Brooks Cascadia 11. I wore this type of shoe the entire way, went through 4 pairs. This is pair number 4. I wore this from Rutland to Katahdin, and I'm just going to go over just the characteristics of the shoe, alternatives, any blisters that I got, where to buy them, faults, and then just the overall pros and cons that lead back to the alternatives for the shoe. So let's start on the grip. As you can see, it's worn pretty even, with the exception being kind of right under the toes, and I attribute that to this pair going into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. A lot of rock scrambling there, so a lot of steep mountains, so you're on the front of your feet a lot. This pair also has a very neutral grip, meaning it'll do well across most terrain, and that's pretty much what I observed too. It did pretty well in mud. Sometimes it would get kind of clogged up with mud. You'd be sliding around a little bit, but other than that, it's really just a slick rock that you'd have problems with it on, or slick like wood, like the boardwalks or something if those were wet. Yeah, but other than that though, really good grip, not too aggressive, and not too unnoticeable. So I really like the grip. There's just times you gotta be careful, but even the best grip in the world isn't gonna save you if you're not paying attention. So, alright guys, so the inside of the shoe is nothing, special as far as I know. This pair has this kind of cool, oh it's dirt, I haven't shaken these out yet. This pair has like this cool like jungle flower type print. And it serves a good purpose for this video. It shows you, even I walked 500 miles, it's still, it's not worn down at all. So I really enjoyed, well not enjoyed, but I thought the insoles were really well made. Never had a problem with them really tearing to any extremes, and I didn't have to buy a Superfeet insole or a Dr. Scholl's insole like a lot of people did. For a while in Pennsylvania, the pads on my feet were pretty tender, but after we got out of the rocks, that kind of went away. So I attribute that to most of the insole here. Pretty good padding overall. And then looking inside the shoe, there's really good stitching. I can't really show you on this camera, but it's really good, really evenly spaced. You can tell there's a good attention to detail. And then in between, even I can't see it right now, but there's the rock shield, which helps protect your feet from rocks, gives you more rigidity. Like I was saying with my feet being tender, they would have been a lot more tender had I not had the rock shield. Lastly, the toe box is kind of narrow, which isn't an issue for me. I don't have really wide feet, but for someone who does, you're not going to like this shoe. I know a lot of people who tried it and just didn't like it because it wasn't as wide as they wanted. So if you have somewhat normal to narrow feet, it's perfect. Yeah, it's pretty much the inside. So, and then also with the mesh, the inside more or less dries out. It's not perfectly dry, but it'll be less than damp in a matter of not even an hour. So that was really nice, just to not especially in Vermont, just walk through puddles and have it dry out pretty quick, given the right choice of sock. Okay guys, so for where to buy, I got all my pairs online. So this is the main reason that I do the Cascadia 11's, is because this year they came out with the 12's. So it's kind of like buying last year's model of car. So with that, pretty much all trail running shoes are going to be around 110 to 130, is my experience, even up to 150. But since Brooks always kind of improves on the design, that means last year's model goes to the surplus. It's like getting last year's phone or last year's car. Nothing's wrong with it, there's just a newer design out there. So I was buying these for anywhere between, I think the first pair I bought was $65, and the last pair I bought was like $90. So, and that's just kind of done by because the stock of the shoe is being reduced, so it becomes, you have less availability to shop around, especially when you want a specific size. So anyways, I used, my first pair was from Jackrabbit, and they worked really well, you know, nothing bad about them. Then I got my second and third pair from Running Warehouse, and they, the time I got the shoes, they had really good free 2-day shipping, and that's where I got my blue hat from that I was wearing most of the trail, or at least the second half of the trail. It was like a free hat with an order. So for me, I mean, that was really good. And then this pair I got from Shoes on the Web, because it was either cheaper or Running Warehouse was out of my size by that point. So those 3 websites I can all recommend, nothing bad. All got to where they were going, and Running Warehouse had free 2-day shipping, which was awesome. Yeah, so that's where I'd recommend getting them. I mean, I just searched Cascadia 11's in Google, clicked on the shopping tab, and it gives me a whole plethora of options. But if you're looking for this year's model, you can always go in store and try them out. But I highly recommend just going with the previous year's model, save you a bunch of money. So anyways, that's where to buy. Alright guys, so the pros of the shoe, like I just talked about, they're affordable. Getting a pair of trail running shoes that have a warranty on them, which I'll explain later, for anywhere from like $70 to $90 is really a good deal in my opinion. They have a decent lifespan. They lasted on average about 600 or so miles each, which is asking a lot, especially on the Appalachian Trail, as often as you're wearing them. And they even have a warranty, which again I'll get into later. They're easy to find. I'd easily get a dozen results for the Cascadia 11's, even though they're last year's model. And I wear a size 11, and I'd say about half those sites probably had my size. And it's just a matter then of finding those sites and getting the prices for them. They also, they're quick to dry and they're breathable. My feet hardly ever sweated on the trail, which was nice. It's just one less area that will stink up. And they actually deal with odors pretty well. I've been holding this next to my face this whole time and I've barely smelt it. They also are pretty flexible. You know, there's a good amount of flex to it, but it's still pretty rigid too. It's got that rock plate in there, so it's not gonna, you're not gonna feel every single rock, which is nice. It'll kind of cut down. And then, I mean, it's also good flexibility this way. I didn't roll my ankle once on the trail, and that was based off, I think, just kind of having a loose fit to it, kind of. I didn't tie it ever too tight, and it would just allow the shoe to roll with the rocks, and my foot would always remain upright. So that also helped, because if I had an ankle injury, that I'd probably, I don't know, I might just be finishing up today or something. So, anyway, so that's the pros. Alright guys, so some of the cons on the shoes is the grip is, I mean, it's nothing special. It's good for most environments, but it's not going to keep you safe if you're not going to pay attention to the terrain. I'd still slip in mud. It would still sometimes lose grip once it got filled up with mud. So that's something to take in mind. You get, you know, the tears, which let some debris in. So that's an issue once it happens. You also, the front of the shoe also just comes off pretty easy. It would have been nice if they kind of would have looped it over like they do with like the Keens or the Low and Peak Ultras. So stuff like that. And then, I mean, just the small toe box in general is also an issue for some people. Again, the best thing I can do is recommend trying on like the Cascadia 12's or the 13's when they'll come out this winter, and that'll give you the best idea if you like it or not. But yeah, so that's really the only faults that I had with the shoe. Everything else was really good. I mean, I bought 4 pairs, I didn't change it up at all. So I think that really says most of what's needed to be said about my opinion of the shoe. Yeah, so some alternatives. So the Low Peak Ultras, I tried on, I think it was the 2.5s just a few days ago at REI, after seeing so many people on the trail with them, and those things are amazing. I didn't want to switch to them because of the zero drop. I was worried that it might affect me in just a way I wasn't prepared for. I didn't want to have that happen on trail, but if you buy those things beforehand, get your calves used to having zero drop, I think you're going to love them. There's such a wide toe box and they're so light, and just the design of the shoes feels really, really good. Lost Up High had them, Q had them, and a few other people had them. Like I said, a lot of people just really enjoyed them, and I was kind of jealous after a while. The Salomon Speedcross 3s, those, if you're looking for something that really grips, those are good. I've had a pair of those for another hike, and they were okay. They weren't my cup of tea. That might have been though because I had a pair a half size too small, so I got some blisters from that. Also the Salomon Ultras, the Deli Boys, people who I hiked with the last little bit of the trail, Guac, Pacer, and Tree Walker, they all had the same shoe more or less, those Salomon Ultras. And then lastly the Hoka One Challenger. That's another good trail runner. Baskets, or Steve Pekarski wore those, and he did a review on them, so I'll link that in the description. So those are kind of all the generic alternatives I'd recommend that are kind of around the same price, especially now that I know the Lone Peak Ultras, they have a newer model now too, so the same thing's kind of happening with the Lone Peaks as it would with the Brooks. So that's something to keep in mind. Salomon and Hoka, they don't really replace or kind of upgrade their models throughout the years. So you're probably going to pay the same price for them unless you're getting an actual used pair. So that's just something to think about. Okay guys, so lastly the warranty. I spoke to Brooks earlier today.
It's a happy day here at Brooks Running, and we are excited to talk with you. To get you where you want to go, please listen to the following options.
Remain on the line, and your call will be directed to the next available agent. We look forward to talking with you. Our normal business hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday. Talking with you. Our normal business hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday. We look forward to talking with you. Our normal business hours are
Brooks Running, this is Dorian. How may I help you?
Hi, I was wondering what y'all's return policy was for shoes that are somewhat worn in.
Yeah, absolutely. We have what we call a True Blue Guarantee, which says that you can wear those shoes inside or outside for 90 days, and you will still receive a 100% refund if that's what you would like.
Okay, does that also apply to through hiking?
Through hiking,
Yeah, I just got off the Appalachian Trail.
within that 90-day window, obviously we'd probably rather have them lightly worn, but you know what, it's 90 days, it's 90 days, it's 90 days. So,
Okay.
that's your opportunity at that point.
Is it just for like a like to refund the money, or is it like good for changing out a set of shoes?
Yeah, so if you're gonna go to our website, and you click the magnifying glass, you can type in defect. And at that point, we can take a look at that information, and we can basically see if something's going on with your shoe that shouldn't be happening after such a short period of time. And that's typically when we do replacements or exchanges. But yeah, we have a whole bunch of options right now. Since you're inside that 90 days, you can return them. We probably would want to stay away from an exchange. But you know, either a return or a replacement pair could be issued if you fill out that defective shoe form on our website.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think it's great. I don't plan on returning them. I got exactly what I needed out of them, what I planned to get out of them. So I'm not returning them. But if you find the need, if something does happen within the first like 300 miles, that's catastrophic to the shoe, then yeah, I would return them and take them up on that offer. Okay guys, so that's my review of the Brooks Cascadia 11. I hope it helped, and I would recommend the shoe, even though there's some faults like the tearing, the little lip here, and the small toe box. I think the ability to find these things pretty easily on the internet, the just flexibility of the shoe, the affordability, and the decent lifespan that it was able to do, and the warranty. I think that all really speaks to the building of the shoe and why so many people wear it. So anyways, yeah, just go check it out.